Hello Jaguars, Mr. Corel here. This is the Interstate project that we'll be doing, and I got this picture off the internet. And as we zoom in, you'll notice that it is a bitmap with pixels. We're going to recreate this as a vector graphic with no pixels. Before we begin, let's see some of the things we're going to learn. We're going to figure out the number of Bezier nodes needed to create a shape. In other words, we're going to have to do some analysis. Then we're going to learn how to mirror or flip a shape to complete the symmetry. As you can see, this shape is symmetrical, and there's no sense in making it twice. You make it once and flip it. That's economy of thought. We're going to learn how to do an intersection command to make subparts. You'll notice this red part is a subpart of the whole part, and by doing an intersecting command we'll be able to achieve that. And then we're going to learn how to weld objects together like these circles and how to apply a drop shadow. Great. Let's begin. I'm going to roll up here, and because it is symmetrical, I'm going to give us a guideline, and we're only going to make half of it. In fact, let's get guidelines to control the whole drawing. This will be the top, this will be the middle. It's going to swing out about this far, come out this far, and then maybe drop down about this far. I don't think I was real clear on that, but I think when we draw with the Bezier tool here, the second tool over, fourth tool down, that you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm going to click here, here, and here. Only 3 Bezier nodes are needed to do this shape, and we'll model the rest of it. Let's get the shape tool. Now if I try to model now, nothing happens. So I'm going to select and grab all the Bezier nodes, and you notice that they became inflated. This one is solid, and these two are darker along the edges, so they're all selected. This command up here is called the convert line to curve command. We do this all the time when we're drawing so we can model with the lines. I'm going to go ahead and drag this down a little bit and drag this out. Now if my guidelines aren't right, I can always change them. I think that'll work. And then what we're going to do is flip this. That is a transformation, a mirror. We're going to flip it to the right. So I click over here on the right too, and I'm going to apply it to a duplicate. That easy. Let's take these two items and weld them together. I'm going to select both of them and go to the shaping weld command. Now I don't need to keep the source or the target. Actually, the source and the target are one because I have them both selected. But you can select everything and just click on weld to and click here, and it should weld it. Now it won't take a fill yet. We got some more work to do. I'm clicking to show you it won't take a fill. Here's what we got to do. Let's zoom in. Let's get the Bezier, the shape tool here, and let's put these where they should go, right here where the guidelines cross. Now when I put this on top of this, they'll become one node. It kind of snaps into place there, and that's what we want. Beautiful. What we do to the top, we got to do to the bottom. And we'll take this and move it over here, and this should snap right into place. And it takes a fill now. Alright, I'm satisfied with that. I'm going to make it purple. I don't think I need the guidelines anymore, so I'm going to get rid of them. I'm going to right click and go to guideline setup, go to horizontal and clear them, and vertical and clear them. Say OK. Now the next part of the project is this top was red, so we're going to do an intersection. I'm just going to intersect it with a rectangle here. Right click to get rid of the line. And intersection is a shaping property along with weld and trim. And it's asking me, do I want to keep the source? The source is the red thing that I'm going to be trimming with. I don't need to keep that. Should I keep this whole bluish purple object? Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and click intersect with this, and it made this shape that was in common between the two. I'm going to fill that shape with red. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, there's a white line around these but you wouldn't see it, so I'm going to make a box here and just fill it with some color and send it to the back. Shift page down so we can better see what's going on around these corners a little bit. And I'll even give it a object properties line. We'll give it a little thicker line. Now to select two things, I'm going to click on this and then shift click here and make the line white and make it thicker. I'm going to type in 6 and hit enter. That's about what I want. I'm going to go ahead and group this. Arrange, group, or Control G. I'd like to get this centered in the green box, so I'm going to select both and go to Arrange, Align and Distribute, Align and Distribute, left to right center, north and south center, and apply it, and close it. Okay, since it's centered, I'm going to select the green thing and holding down Shift, push it in a little bit and push it up a little bit. And I think I'm going to go ahead and group this. As you center things and get things in proper position, you want to group them so you won't inadvertently move them accidentally and lose your centering. The next thing I'm going to do is type Interstate. Get the pick tool, change it to white, make it bold, and stretch it out. Let me center that. Arrange, align, and distribute, and we'll just do it left to right. And let's group that, Control G. So after I center, I group, so I won't displace anything. Down here we have Mickey Mouse. This is Highway 4 going to Disney World, so let's see how we're going to do this. We'll start with a big circle, holding down Control, fill it with white, get rid of the line by right clicking, and we'll move this over here and make it a little bit smaller. And then this has a couple ears. We'll fill that with white and put that right there. And what I'm going to do is duplicate this, but before I duplicate it, I'm going to click on the document and make sure my duplicate distance is 0. It already is, but you never want to offset a duplicate. So when you do Control D, it stays right there, so when you move it, you can keep it lined up. I'm holding down Control, so I can't move up or down. I'm going to take these 3 items and weld them together. I've selected all 3 of them. By the way, I click on one, I shift click on the other 2 to add to the selection. I'm going to go ahead to Shaping, go to Weld, and weld these together. if I remove the fill, give it a black line, remove the fill, and make it a red line. Let me make it thicker. Let's go to Object Properties. Just want to show you what the weld did. The weld took these three different shapes and changed it into one path. Go ahead and fill that back up. And I'm going to go ahead and center this. It may be centered. Actually, it'll be a few pixels off. Let's go to Range, Align and Distribute, and we just want to do it left to right. Watch it. It'll move a little bit. See? Now it's perfectly centered. Let's go ahead and group that. Control G. And this is a Florida interstate, so we'll type out Florida here. And we'll click on white, and we'll click on bold, and we'll shrink that up. And let's center that. Go to Arrange, Align and Distribute, and we just want to do it left to right, not up and down, so we'll apply that. Let's grab all of this and group it. Now when we move it, we won't displace anything. This is Highway 4. So we'll type a 4 here. Let's make it bold. And I'm going to give it a drop shadow. Underneath the A tool is a number of very excellent tools. The one that has a box with a little shadow underneath is called the Interactive Drop Shadow tool. Now actually, before we use this tool, it's best to select this. You know it's selected when it has these handles around it. And then we'll go back to this tool, and then the computer will know what we want to give a shadow to. Now that happens a lot. I don't want that. I'm going to try clicking somewhere else. That's what I really want. So if it doesn't do right, just Control Z, undo, and do it right. This controls the transparency of that shadow. Up here at the top, the little feather controls how feathered that will be. And when I mean feathered, how blurred it'll be. Now I'm going to put this back here. Now when you do add a shadow, it doesn't center very good, so I'm going to do it just by eyeball. Let me undo what I just did there. Let me put this back. And let me get the pick tool. Actually, that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to group this. We'll zoom in. And that's the Interstate project. I hope you learned something. This is Mr. Corel signing off. God bless. See you in class.